Hello. So today we are going to make a simple and easy holiday sign using the IOD paint inlay called NOEL. This is the newest one, the newest inlay. It's part of the limited edition Christmas series. It's got a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun stuff with this inlay. So let's get going. Today we are going to be making this gingerbread sign using IOD's paint inlay. This one's called NOEL. It is part of the Christmas or the winter 2022 release. And I haven't used any of these yet, so I'm excited to give this a try. So we're going to be making this on this wooden canvas. We're going to be making this gingerbread sign. So I'm doing a base coat of Fusion's Blue Pine. And then we're going to be doing a different paint technique on top. We're going to be adding some texture. This is just the base. So I'm getting pretty full fair coverage, I guess, full fair coverage with the blue pine. But I'm not super concerned about any brush marks or anything like that because this is a base coat. Okay, so base coat is on, and now we're just going to make sure this is nice and dry before we move on to the next step. Okay, so this is nice and dry, and now I'm going to be using Fusion's Lamp White over top. So I'm just going to squirt a little bit out on this plate, and I'm going to add a little bit of water, and I'm going to mix that up. I just want to water the paint down just a little bit. All right, I'm going to grab some paper towel just in case. Okay, so now this is a stain brush. So I found them at a hardware store quite a long time ago. I have a few in stock, and I thought it would make really kind of some cool texture. So that's what I'm going to kind of try here today. So this is an experiment. So I'm just putting the paint on the brush, and then I am just brushing it on just in straight lines. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly dry that a little bit because I don't want it to just smudge, and then I'm going to go in the opposite direction. And this is basically just giving me some visual texture. I think it'll just be a fun finish. So now we'll just go this way And same process. I am liking how this is turning out. So we're going to give it a little dry again. Bristle. Okay, now I just want to just add a little bit more. Oops. I'm going to go one more time this way as well. All right, I'm going to dry this really well, and then we will be back with the inlay. Okay, so this is nice and dry, and now we're going to apply this inlay. And I've chosen this gingerbread bakery. I can't talk today. Gingerbread bakery. I thought that would look really cute on here. Make a nice little holiday sign. And it fits perfectly on this canvas. So because I have done this paint finish on this canvas, I am going to apply the inlay using a clear coat. And I've chosen to use DIY's Clear Patina, which is this stuff. So this is what I use. I use this a lot of time for decoupage, and I use it to apply inlays on a previously painted surface. So I've got some here in this bottle, and we are going to apply the patina. Move that out of the way. I tend to be messy. So we're going to apply some patina. I'm just using a Klingon brush. I like how nice and soft these brushes are. So I'm just putting a good, fairly heavy coat. I don't want it to dry too fast because you need the inlay to set into wet paint, remember? So putting on a fairly heavy coat. Oh, a little bit of a lump. Gonna need a little bit more. Okay, So now we are going to apply this inlay, and I'm lucky that these inlay sheets are the same size as this board. I'm just gonna stand up here and try to line this up. You have a little bit of grace when it comes to laying down these inlays where you can reposition a little bit. Okay, and remember the inlay is just the painted parts that you see. So now to activate the paint inlay, we're going to dampen it with water. So this is just a wet microfiber cloth, and I'm just going to press that inlay down into that clear patina. So I'm just concentrating on the image itself. Just to make sure I've got good contact, and that's really setting in so I get a nice transfer of the inlay. So sometimes you can use a brayer, and you can, let me find a brayer, you can roll over to make sure you've really got it setting in there. It's just an option that you can use. Okay, so now we're going to let this dry, and you want it to dry completely, and then we'll come back and we'll peel back this paper. Okay. So this is all dry, and now we are going to dampen it again to take this backing paper off. So we're going to give it a good spritz here and come back with our damp cloth. And what this is doing now is it's going to release this backing paper from the inlay. I'm always a little bit nervous when I'm doing these inlays, because you're always just a little bit nervous that what if it doesn't work? But it's working. So this inlay itself is distressed, like these letters are distressed. So you're not getting a perfectly crisp inlay because it's not designed that way. It's designed to look old and a little bit rustic, and so I'm just slowly pulling the inlay off. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to put that aside to dry because I should be able to get another use out of that. That came out nice. I think that looks good on there. So now the trick to sealing these, because you have to remember that this is chalk style paint. The inlays themselves are made out of chalk style paint. So if you're just going to brush a clear coat over this to seal it, you can reactivate this paint and you can smear it. So what I do is I just take a spritzer bottle and I mix 50-50 Big Top and water. And Big Top is DIY Paint's clear coat. So I've got a couple little markings here. So if I'm doing a really big project, I would put Big Top to here and then water. But in this case, I'm only doing this little project. So I'm going to do Big Top and then fill up to here to water. So I'm just going to squirt some Big Top in there. There we go. And then I always have a little bottle of distilled water handy, because if I need to add water to any paint, I always want to put distilled water in a paint jar, never tap water. Because even though our water is all filtered, and there can still be some bacteria in there, and it can make your paint do weird things. I always make a mess. Okay. So I'm just going to mix that, and we're just going to spritz this on here. I'm going to move stuff so I don't get overspray. There we go. Get this started. There we go. So basically this is like having Big Top in a rattle can. So we're just going to spray it on there, and we're going to let that dry. And then we're going to come along and we're going to give it a second coat, so that we're sure we've got 2 good coats covering up this inlay. And then my third coat, I just give a nice brush on coat, and it gives me a nice smooth finish. So we're going to let that dry, and then we'll hit this again. Okay, let's give this one more coat of our Big Top and water mixture. Perfect. So another alternative you can do with your spray is you can just use a regular water-based clear coat. This is the stuff that we can get here in Canada. One of the options. I like this kind because it doesn't yellow. I've never had any issues with this yellowing over whites or really light colors. So this is another option. The reason why I don't use this much inside is because it's got a pretty strong smell. And we all know DIY paint is no VOCs. So I like using my little 50-50 mixture. The other thing is that leaving this in these bottles will wreck your sprayer. So I've got some extra here. All I'm going to do with this is just put it in a smaller little container and really rinse out my spray nozzle. I just run clear water through it, I spritz it through it, and make sure that it's really good and clean. Because if you leave it in there, it will wreck your sprayer, and then you won't be able to use it. You'll have to get a new one. And that's kind of a waste. So just pour this out in something else and wash this out really good, and it'll last you for a long time. All right, so we're gonna wait for that to dry again, and we'll be back. Okay, so now we've got 2 coats where we've sprayed on our 50-50 Big Top and water mix. And this was what I was saying earlier. I just take it out of my spritzer bottle and I put it in one of these little squirt bottles, and then it doesn't clog up your spritzer. So this is a good way, and then it's handy for next time. Also, why I use distilled water when I do this, because this won't build up any bacteria or anything over time. It'll stay nice and fresh. So that is the plan with that. And now we are just going to take some straight big top and we are going to put it, let's just use one of these brushes instead. We're going to give it a good coat, just straight big top. And now we're free to brush over the inlay. It won't smear. I still don't play with it too much. I just get that brushed coat over. It kind of evens out the texture a little bit. Ooh, I'm gonna spill this. And Big Top dries to kind of like a satin finish. So it ends up looking really nice. And I'm just going to give these edges a quick go, just so that the finish matches all the way around. Super. Just a quick. Because we used Fusion paint to paint this canvas, so it has a built-in top coat. I'm only doing this to even out the sheen, so it matches. The side and the top is the same sheen. All right. And there we go. Once that's dry, and it's drying super fast, it will be good to go. Okay, so that's it. Thanks so much for watching. We have our little gingerbread sign is done. I think it looks super cute. And that's just one page out of IOD's paint inlay called Noel. That is from the Winter 2022 release, and it is this beauty right here. So this is just one page. There's 7 more pages. So a lot of projects that you can get done using this one inlay. So that was just this one page. You've got all the rest. Okay, so I hope this inspired you to give one of these inlays a try. I know they can be a little bit intimidating, but once you get going with them, they're super fun, and there's so many of them out now. There's all kinds of options that you can use these on, all kinds of design options to use them. Okay, all right guys, thanks so much for watching.